My dear friends, the gospel today speaks about Jesus, while speaking to the crowd, addressed the scribes and the Pharisees about their hypocrisy. Jesus, in this gospel today, we see that he is approaching two areas of Pharisaic and scribal way of being that he sees as hypocrisy. The first, he speaks about tithes. Tithes, also the giving of agricultural produce, like the different things that they will bring to the temple. And so Jesus began to tell them about the importance of what justice is and righteousness and good faith. That the Pharisees and scribes, while they existed for the renewal of a particular sector in the Jewish world, they were, while meaning good, they concentrated on the wrong aspect, or at least concentrated on one aspect of life and ignored the other. So Jesus said, for instance, they bring the tithes, and as you well know, the Old Testament from the time of Moses stipulated that people must give a 10%, 10 cents out of $1 of your earnings for the work of the temple, the work of evangelization, in the sense in teaching and carrying out the work of the faith in charity. So we have the Pharisees and the scribes insisting on things like tithes. You must give what you are asked to give. And Jesus said, look, they are thinking about giving the exact, and yet they do not exercise justice. Remember how Jesus spoke about the judge, the unjust judge, how this particular judge refused to give the widow her justice and right. And because of her persistence, and because he didn't want her to bother her, eventually he gave her the right. Now, when we speak about tithes and 10%, this is really Old Testament prerogative. When we come to the New Testament, we see something much different. The church, for instance, does not ask you to give a 10%, although there are some priests and some bishops who may make that requirement. But it is not something that the church legislates, that every Catholic must give 10%. This is not the teaching of the church. So let us look at Jesus when we speak about giving. When we give to the Lord, Jesus is expecting us to be generous. Now, he gave examples like this. Let me just use two examples. For instance, think of the widow who went to the temple. All the others went and threw in what they had left over. But this widow, Jesus said, gave all that she had to live by. In other words, she had nothing left, no money. She gave the penny. She didn't have to divide the penny. She gave it all. Then we have Jesus against when Peter approached him and he said, tell me something, how much times must I forgive my brother? 7 times? And Jesus said 7 times 7. In other words, forgiveness must be an ongoing thing. It must flow from within and given generously. In the same way, when we give, we must give from the depth of our hearts with what is, we must be generous in whatever we give to others or we give for the work of the mission. St. Paul himself speaks about giving, how you must give in a sense until you feel that you can give, not giving extra. And as Jesus said, give, flowing into your basket, falling and running over. That's the blessing that comes. Whether you give or not, God is going to bless you. But God will even bless you when you become even generous. He sees what we do and he rewards us. We do not give because we want a reward. We give because it is good and it is right to give. Jesus said, look at you. You're concentrating on giving the little the money you have, even what you have left over. That is what you give. But you don't treat people good. You don't do justice to others. Look at the unjust judge. This unjust judge failed to give the widow what she wanted until she kept pestering him, and then he was forced to do so. We must not become that kind of person. We must have a softness of heart that is linked to generosity, to do what is right to others, especially persons who find themselves in the edge of society. The second aspect of the gospel, Jesus speaks about plates and cups being unclean outside. They clean the outside of the cups and the plates, but inside are full of dust, full of uncleanliness. In thinking about this, I reflect on what we call the wearing of masks. Our society is a society that masquerades. Masquerade is not only at carnival time, for the morning, or any other time. It is not just that. It is a mask that human beings wear all the time to present themselves as though they are so good, so nice, so holy. This in itself is being expressed, and not to offend anyone by saying this. This is expressed by many individuals, both men and women, who put on makeup. They disguise themselves. Okay, some people put on makeup to enhance themselves, and I understand that quite well. However, there are a lot of people in our modern society who put on so much makeup on their faces, both men and women, and even children. They have been taught to do the same, that you do not recognize them. There are many times I am walking and seeing people, and I'm sure you have had the same experience, where you will see people and you're wondering, is this a man or a woman? You see a child, and the child is like an old woman, the way the child is being dressed. We want to project something outside of ourselves, project something that we are really not what we express ourselves to be. Jesus is addressing us, and he is saying to us that we need to unmask ourselves, take off those things that hide what is true within us. And he is saying to go within. Don't only dress outside. Don't only try to look good in the external. Go inside. Get out those anger, get out those hatred, get out those jealousy. Get those things out of you. Those are the things you need to clean. Why have an inside clean, inside dirty, and outside clean? No. Why have inside looking terrible, but outside I'm looking beautiful? No. He said, get inside. Clean the inside. Clean the inside. So we clean the inside. We invite love, understanding, forgiveness. We invite into our lives compassion, generosity. We invite love. And these things, therefore, will shine out eventually in our lives. People will see the authentic me the authentic you, because you are not camouflaging yourself, you are not disguising yourself, you are not hiding or wearing masks. In fact, what is inside you, if it is bad, you will see it from the outside. Don't care how much mask you put on. If inside is good, the goodness will be reflected on you wherever you go. So, Jesus, in these two statements about the tithes and about the giving of agricultural produce, is that you mustn't concentrate on being exact, because God is not exact with us. God is generous with His grace. He is generous with His grace to show us, secondly, mercy and love and compassion, and that is what we must be for others. May God give us the grace to find our true selves and to express it every day in our lives.